We have yet another review of the AI for the professor here. The game is in a much better state now, I think, and some of the playtest feedback has given us some useful insight into how to improve the AI of the professor. One of two major things that we changed, first of all, is that the professor now relies on a sight cone. In addition to that, I've added some temporary effects that help the player to perceive the professor at a distance, even when it's very dark, to help remedy the issue of, the professor being invisible. In addition to that, because of this new sight cone, instead of the radius that the professor uses, there's also a change to the heat cue. The professor normally follows a breadcrumb trail of sorts of heat cue sources, or heat sources rather. This heat source cue was previously indefinite, and that worked fine when the sight range was a perception radius. But what I quickly realized in testing, as soon as I implemented the sight cone, was that the player could very easily walk up behind the professor, and because of the indefinite cue size, the professor would never turn around to actually check. So the player could just run in a circle and evade the professor that way while being within a very short range of him. So there is now a similar radius that will cause the professor to immediately aggro. And in addition to that, the cue is no longer indefinite in count and size. There is a maximum size. So we're just going to go through a short little demo here and see the changes in action. On the left, you will see there is a view in green that represents the sight cone. The blue cone is for the particle effects. So as you can see here on the right, if you look in the inspector, the heat cue is presently empty. The maximum size is set to 3. I'm going to make some noise here and get his attention real quick. As you can see, he's going to begin walking towards me, and you can see the concrete step noise has been added to the cue. If you watch the orange circle, you can actually tell which of the heat sources he's currently tracking. So as I make a bunch more noise, you'll see that there's multiple heat sources making sounds, but he's still tracking more recent ones as those get removed from the cue. So no longer will the professor prioritize irrelevant heat sources that are long gone due to this new change. As you can see here, I got into range there, and the professor spotted me, even though he would otherwise have tried to follow some of the heat cue sources that are much older in that case. It's working a lot better now. I think this is a lot more immersive as well, with the professor not following an indefinite breadcrumb trail of heat sources. See if I can get this to work here. Yeah, as you can see, he actually rerouted because he removed all the heat from his cue. In previous versions, he would have gone all the way around in a circle instead of turning around. And we're going to test that out real quick here. I'm going to run a big loop here, and we'll actually get to see that he's going to take the shorter path based on the newer heat cue sources. Previously, he would have kept on going to, orientation-wise, down and right on the scene view over there, but instead he turned around and improved his pathing based on it. So it's all looking good.